This looks like a job for Superman.
Hey guys, Rez the Collector here. Video's gonna be a little bit different. I haven't put out a review in about a week and a half. I've been very busy. One thing I've actually never put out that I wanted to go ahead and do today is my current top 10 figures in my collection. Now this is only going to be loose figures. A couple of in-package might get some honorable mentions, but the top 10 is actually going to be loose figures. It's a video I wanted to do for a while. I know a lot of people did their top 10s and their top 5s of 2013. My collection, I've been basically backtracking through some Mattel, but mostly DC Direct, DC Collectibles, and collecting figures that have come out in the past. But of course, a lot of the new figures that are coming out, of course, we'll be getting those as well. Some of the new stuff that I've gotten recently, one figure that I haven't reviewed yet that's going to be in this top 10. Actually, there's two figures I haven't reviewed yet. They're going to be in the top 10. Other figures haven't been reviewed, but I don't know that I'll backtrack them. One of them is going to be the Eradicator from the 2003-2004 Superman set. And then, of course, the Last Son Superman has not been reviewed yet. And then some of the new stuff that I'm getting in, I picked up the Henry Cavill Hot Toys. I got that just a couple of days ago. He's looking great on the in the display case. You can see pictures of that. Go ahead and find me on Facebook, Rez the Collector on Facebook. There should be a link on my main part of my YouTube page to go there. Go ahead and send me a friend request. You know, I tend to just to share same stuff I kind of share here. You'll see my videos posted. You'll see some of the stuff I'm picking up. Just random comments, what have you. So you're going to see definitely a couple of new figures. I've got plenty of new stuff coming. I've got, at least new to me, I've got the Alec McGuinness Superman coming finally. I've got the Kenneth Rocafort statue coming at the end of the month. That's going to be epic. We're going to definitely get a review of that up right away. I've got the Bizarro. No, not the Bizarro. I mean, I've got him pre-ordered, but that's not who's coming. Ultraman, the new Ultraman, that's coming out at the end of this month. He's going to be coming right away. So plenty of great stuff coming up. I'll do a preview video on that. I just want to talk a little bit about it here. Now, we're doing my top 10, like I said. And up until this point, right now, I probably should have straightened up those hero clicks back there. But up until this point right now, I have not ranked them in the top 10 list. So basically, you're going to be seeing it as I do, who I'm going to go ahead and grab. These are going to be, instinct decisions on how this top 10 is going to fall. Now, I will say that 2 of the 10 are custom figures of mine. One is extremely minor customization, and one is a complete repaint. Those of you who have seen my videos probably know at least the total repaint one I'm going to be taking a look at, but yeah. And because they are my own customs, I'm probably going to rank them closer to the 10 spot than the 1 spot, because I almost feel weird about including them, but I love the figures. I love especially the repaint, the way that came out. So actually, let's go. Number 10 is my repaint of the new 52 Superman in the Justice Lord style. Now, of course, this does differ slightly from the actual Justice Lord's costume. The Justice Lords, of course, premiered in the Justice League cartoon that was on early 2000s. He has, in the cartoon, he's got 2 white bands around his arms. I did a little something different with that, and I've done actually a little bit of customization on him since the last time you guys have seen this guy on video. I cleaned him up quite a bit. I cleaned up the boots, made those lines nice and straight. Cleaned up the black spots in the belt and the diamond shape. So he is slightly different than the original premiered Justice Lord's costume, but one of my all-time favorite figures. He was a beautiful figure to do this customize with. The armor lines on the new 52 Superman made this so easy. I mean, it was almost like, paint by numbers. Of course, I mean, there was my own, artistic decisions that went into some of these things, but the way the armor lines were, the way the piping was in the costume, made this so easy to do, and he turned out beautifully. So there is number 10, Custom Justice Lord Superman New 52. And I guess just to keep going with my own customizations, the second one you guys have seen kind of recently if you're friends with me on Facebook, and that is the Superman from the Superman Through the Ages. Now, the customization on this guy is so minor. It's really, for people who don't have this figure, you're really not going to realize what it is. It's that eyebrow here. He actually, the original figure has an arched eyebrow, and I have another one of this figure. But I decided to go ahead, since I had two of them, to customize one because I wanted to see what he would look like with that straightened eyebrow. A lot of people, that's the issue they had with this figure, was that arched eyebrow. A lot of people did not like it. I'm personally fine with it, but once I did the customization and gave him a straight brow, I actually liked it a lot more. I also felt the need to include this figure because of the Alex Ross body style. Now, the cape is slightly different than you're going to see on the standard Alex Ross figures, but this body style, this body buck, has been used for a lot of different Supermans. Of course, the Alex Ross Superman, it's also been used for this and for the Justice League Classic Icons. Of course, there's different paint apps. The Icons has a much more, I don't know how to describe it, a much more streamlined and straight S, almost like that you see here on my my desktop here, whereas the Alex Ross S on both the Alex Ross figure and this figure, it has more curve to it, more flow. The lines are softer. So there we go, number 9, not Justice League, Superman Through the Ages, minor customization. Now bear in mind, while all these figures bear the S, they are not all Superman. Number 8. Is Steel from the 2003-2004 Superman and Return of Superman line. This is an amazing figure. The sculpt work on this guy is just flat out awesome. You can see he's got those big pauldrons, you've got that big huge S, you've got the rivets. This is the best Steel figure, in my opinion, that's out there. It is the only one that I actually have. Now, I do have this entire set mint in package, so I've actually got 3 of this figure. I have 2 loose. One is actually I'm trying to get rid of because I don't need to have 2 loose. But I would like to have this entire set, all 10 figures, Superman and Return, loose, and I'm very close. I need the Kryptonian Life Suit, Supergirl, and Doomsday loose, and I will have all 10 loose as well as all 10 in package. Now, of course, the loose ones, some of them are missing some accessories, and I can live with that. A lot of the stuff I'm going to be looking for at Chicago Comic-Con this year, but so I'll definitely be trying to get those missing pieces, but just the figures themselves, having those loose is really a goal of mine, and I'm getting real close. But this Steel figure, best Steel figure out there. I mean, I've seen some of the Mattel ones, and there's a couple of good Mattel ones, but this is it. This is an amazing figure. DC directed a just flat out awesome job on this guy. The hands, the hammer, the S, the face, the huge flowing cape. He is just amazing, and this is number 7 on the list. And you know what? Let's keep going with that line for a moment. The Eradicator. Recent pickup for me. I, of course, do have him in package. And this guy is slightly damaged. His translucent hand is broken. You can't see it here now, but it does come right off. And I am going to get that glued. I haven't gotten around to it, and I can't get it back on. All right, well, we'll fix that later. So he's got some Darth Vader stump hand going on at the moment. But I love the way this figure looks. I loved this suit when it came out way back in, what, 92, 93? I loved the cape coming straight off the S here. I loved how big the S was and the fact that it was a separate piece from the suit. Those of you who are old enough or remember the comic, the cape and the S came down in a single piece over this blue and black suit. Of course, he has the visor because this version of the Eradicator had a problem with light, so he wore the visor to protect his eyes from sunlight. I love the way, the thickness of this cape, the way they've got it coming way up over the shoulders, making his shoulders look huge, and that, of course, that dip down around the neck. He, of course, does have that big yellow S on the back. So this is, what do we got, number 6. Number 6 in the top 10 list. Get his hand over here so I don't lose that. All right, number 5. Getting down to the top 5. Justice League of America, Superman. As soon as I got this guy, he was one of my favorite figures. The only problem I have with him overall is his head is a little small. But it's an iconic Superman. He's got that big, beautiful S. As I talked about in the review of him, he's got that larger notch there, right here at the top of the S. And he's got that streamlined look. He's a very lean, very young-looking Superman. Like I said, definitely once he hit the collection, once I got him in my Christmas haul, he was definitely right up there with the top figures. Sorry about that, guys. A little editing snafu there. Alright, we're down to the top 5. Coming in at number 5 is the Bizarro from the Last Sun series. This is another guy I got in my Christmas haul. Another fantastic figure. Huge, just gigantic. Another just a triumph from DC Direct. He is just amazing. No part of this sculpt is bad. You've seen my review of him most likely, so I'm not going to go into great detail on him. Of course, my battery's dying. But definitely a beautiful figure. Definitely, as soon as I got him, one of the top figures. Wasn't one that I was actually looking for. Wasn't one that I was chasing. But once I got him in hand and I was able to see how amazing he was, I actually then felt the need almost immediately to pick up the Superman from this line. Which brings me to the next figure. Superman from The Last Sun. I have not done my review on him, so I'm not going to go into great detail. Anybody who's seen this figure knows how amazing he is. Anybody who's had him in hand, he is just a fantastic figure. Like that Bizarro, looking at those two side by side, I mean, Bizarro's huge. This version of Superman also very big. Of course, nothing compared to Bizarro, but still very big. Great, great figure. All right, we're getting down there. This, of course, is Superboy Prime from DC Direct. I have the Mattel figure, and the Mattel figure is such a poor imitation compared to this guy. That huge red and black S just draws the eyes right to him. That anti-monitor armor, the shredded cape, the black eyes with the heat vision centers, the way that S curl has fallen, and I find that to be such a great image. Is it's not curling anymore. It's fallen like he is. He's a fallen Superman, a fallen Kal-El. Great, great figure. I mean, you can see the classic Superman costume underneath, but of course it's been altered for this darker version of Superman from what was supposed to be our Earth, Earth Prime. where superheroes did not exist. He's just a fantastic figure. Definitely recommend anyone who does not have him to pick him up. If you see him anywhere, grab him up. He is a must-have piece for anyone's collection. As soon as I got him, he went front and center in the display case. I had him between the New 52 Superman and the New 52 Justice Lord Superman that we saw, and he looked amazing between those two, almost like a guard, almost like that image of Earth 1 and Earth 2 Superman pulling him through the red sun. Of course, different costumes, but just amazing the way they look together, and I love this figure. Alright guys, I'm torn between these last two. Who's going to take the number 1 and who's going to take the number 2 spot? And I think what's going to push it that far is push my decision is Superman himself needs to take the top spot. I mean, I'm a Superman guy, obviously. I mean, you guys, if you're watching this, you've seen my collection videos, you've seen my videos, you know I'm a Superman guy. So Supes has to take the top spot. So, in the number 2 spot, from that same collection where we saw Steel and we saw the Eradicator, we have the Cyborg Superman. This is the best version of the original Cyborg Superman costume. There are some great other figures out there. There's some other DC Direct. There's the Yellow Lantern Cyborg Superman. I mean, there's some great cyborgs out there. There really is. But for my money, this is it. This is the one that if you want a representation, if you're only going to have one representation of the Cyborg Superman in your collection, it's got to be this guy. Very, very hard to find. This loose one, I got at Chicago Comic-Con last year. I paid $30 for him loose, and that is a lot for me to pay for a loose figure. Of course, it's nowhere near what I paid for the in-package. The in-package, I dropped a hundo for that guy. Very, very hard to find. Impossible to find for less than $100. I had been watching so many different eBay auctions go up and come down. Generally, he was a buy it now for like 120, 150. I saw like 300, and then there was this $100 one that popped up. And he was one of the last pieces I needed to complete that set. Wasn't the very last. I think Doomsday was the very last I picked up in the in-package. But he was the centerpiece, the grail piece of that collection. He is the figure that out of all those amazing figures in that collection, every one an iconic representation of the character. From Superboy to Supergirl to Brainiac, Doomsday, every one of those figures is one of the most iconic representations of those characters you're going to find. And that is no more recognized than it is in this Cyborg figure. In no other figure, to my recollection, did they completely get the transition on the S from the light to the dark. Did they fully realize the way the cyborg parts looked, from the spaces in the arms to the way the mouth and the eye looked, to the way this cord here looks on so many of them? They have this big chunk of metal there, to the way the legs are and the muscle structure. Now, the only problem with this guy is his robotic leg. I didn't know this at the time of purchase. Honestly, I would have bought him anyway. I might have tried to haggle a little bit more, but his leg, I believe, at the knee joint had been glued previously. And then when I got him and I tried to get that knee to articulate, I started actually ripping the leg off. Now, as you can see, I'm not a small man. I have a lot of power in my hands, so it was almost too late before I realized what I was doing, but I stopped it, and I have since glued his leg again, so he has no articulation in this knee. But still, I mean, even with that damage and the fact that I had to glue him, he's definitely, I mean, he's in the number 2 spot. I mean, obviously, this is my top 10, and he's number 2. So, if you have a chance, if you see this guy, if you're out and about, if you're at a convention, if you're anywhere and you see Cyborg Superman, this incarnation of him, and he's either at a good price or at a price you can afford, pick him up. I mean, oh jeez. You know, it wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't drop like 8 figures. You can see the graduating way that this goes dark, the lines there. I mean, he's just... I mean, this is almost turning into a review of him now. He's just an amazing figure. So, I got to stop there, because otherwise I'm going to keep going with him. I'm going to go into a full review of this guy, and that's not what this is. This is a top 10 list. So, number 2, Cyborg Superman. Find him, buy him, put him in your collection. Alright, let's fix that. The number 1 spot. I think from the beginning I knew that this was going to come down to number 1. Like I said, I hadn't ranked these guys before I sat down to do this video. I had just pulled my top 10, but I think from the start I knew 2 figures. I knew the bookend figures. I knew because the Justice Lord Superman was my own custom that he was going to take the very end spot, because I don't feel right listing something that I did above the work of such amazing artists and sculptors, but he is in my top 10, so I had to put him in there. So at the other end, the number 1 spot, the other part of that bookend, New 52 Metallic Superman from the 3-pack Trinity War set. Now, all of you who are watching this video, I'm sure, have seen the New 52 Superman. Probably 90% of you own a version, whether it be the 7-pack, the single-carded, or the metallic. Now, of course, I have all 3. And I have duplicates of all 3. I've got 2 of these. I've got a Trinity War in package. I've got single carded in package, and I've got the 7-pack Justice League in package. And I picked up that Superman with that alternate head separately. So a New 52 Superman had to hit this list. I wasn't sold on this costume to begin with. I'm gonna be honest about that. I really wasn't. I'm an old guy, well, not ancient, but, you know, I'm not in my 20s anymore. I'm closer to 40 than I am 30. So, you know, I mean, my Superman has red underwear. My Superman has a yellow belt. My Superman has a yellow S on his back. And I thought that was the way it was always going to be. But this suit has grown on me to the point where I don't know if they're ever going to go back to the classic, because, I mean, let's face it, it's the comic book world. They're going to do whatever they think is going to make them money. If they think sticking with the New 52 is going to be where it's at, they're going to do that. If sales start to decline and they're like, okay, let's take it back to classic, let's go back to that world, because of course they'll make the New 52 Earth 52, and then, you know, they'll go back to Earth 1 and call that Earth 1 again. And I don't know if they're ever going to do that. What I do know is, while I would love to see new stories with my Superman, the guy I grew up with, if they lost this suit, if we lost this suit, it would suck a little bit. Because, I mean, the suit is amazing, and in this metallic paint, I mean, you wouldn't think that a simple repaint would do so much. I mean, the original, the matte, is a masterpiece in and of itself. But you give it this metallic paint job, you give his skin a little bit of rosier hue, and though it's the same body sculpt, it's a completely new figure. It's eye-catching. It's... I mean, this is along with some of the other figures in the collection. I mean, all of them are going to catch your eye when you walk into a room like mine, or like a lot of you other collectors out there. I mean, there's a lot of pieces that are going to catch the eye, but there's a few that you could say in the collection are not only going to catch the eye, but they're going to hold it. And this is definitely one of them. This is one of the ones that you're going to look at and you're going to be like, oh my god, that's freaking cool. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. This is an extremely long video for me. This is probably one of the longest videos, if not the longest video I've ever put out. I do want to throw out some honorable mentions. Now, if I were to consider Hot Toys to be action figures, which I don't, I consider them posable statues. One, because they're so freaking expensive. And two, because, I mean, they're posable statues. So if I were to take Hot Toys into consideration, if they were action figures, if I considered them to be action figures, Christopher Reeve would take the top spot. Hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Reeve would be the #1 spot. #2 would be the Hot Toys Cavill I just got, because those figures, those statues, whatever you want to call them, are so amazing, so articulated, so movie accurate that it's mind-blowing. So honorable mentions to them. Honorable mention to the Blackest Night, Earth 1 Superman. Amazing costume. I unfortunately don't have one loose. If I did, I think he would have been in this top 10 list. Honorable mention again goes to the classic icon Superman. A lot of people don't like the face, but I love the way that suit looks. I mean, those colors pop. It's got that beautiful S on it. Amazing figure. Again, unfortunately, I don't have one loose, or he may have bumped. If I did, he probably would have bumped somebody off of this list. Even just looking, he probably would have bumped the other Justice League Superman that was in this list. The streamlined, thin, younger looking one. He probably would have bumped him. But yeah, that's all I'm going to throw out for honorable mentions. Of course, I love every figure in my collection. Some more than others, you know, some... You know, you never want to say you love one child more than another. Of course, they're not, you know, children, but whatever. There are some figures that, you know, are amazing, some that aren't. But when you're a collector like I am, and a lot of you are, you love every piece in your collection. So there you guys have it. Probably my longest video to date. This is coming up on half an hour. I do apologize for that. But this was my top 10 list. This is Reds the Collector. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this. Hopefully you made it here. If you didn't, I completely understand. You all have busy lives. I have a busy life. It's hard to watch a half-an-hour video with some guy talk about action figures, even for us. You know, even as much as we love the hobby. So if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and rate the video. Leave me a comment. I try to respond to everybody. If I do miss it, I'm going to blame Google Plus, because I try to respond to everybody. So if I miss you, I'm sorry. Blame Google. It's all Google's fault. I'm innocent. Again, this is Reds the Collector. You guys have a great night.